Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final day of the Community Clash tournament. We're going to be heading into the North American Finals in just a few moments. But for now, we've got rid of basically. It broke my heart, but Billy is back on the production side. But in replacement, we have the wonderful Alpha Jackal looking absolutely marvelous, if I may say so myself.
Oh. You're looking absolutely amazing yourself, and I can't thank you enough for helping me get this look together. If you're out there in Europe and you need a makeover, Blazy is the man for the job. He does a wonderful work.
All me, and only me as well. But
yeah,
AJ, we're heading into this last game of Clash here in the weekend, and I'm hoping it's going to be just as good as the EU finals were yesterday. Me and Billy were talking the whole week about how we weren't able to see really too many hypotheses. Then yesterday, we come on out 4 hypotheses in a row, 2 regular, 2 enhanced. You think we're going to be seeing the similar caliber of play from these two teams in NA?
I'm thinking we might see a little bit more of a fast-paced game here, as everybody always knows, Europe a bit more methodical, a bit more, wanting to play the map. NA, all about them kills, all about just trying to find as much fighting as possible, so I expect less hypothesis, more aggression, and a bit of a quicker game.
Okay, well, let's put that theory to the test right away, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1, well, the only game between these two North American teams. We have Ooga Booga and Spooder coming back from on Friday, as we saw them defeat their last opponents, coming up against the Chiquititos, who came up around the other side of the bracket, already looking to contest this red buff Spooder. Create a pretty decent zone here, but Cybrito could be in some trouble. Scratch that, red buff already going the way of the blues.
Yeah, you think Odin's in trouble at level 3? No, you're the one that's in trouble if you're facing the Odin at that point. He can just jump away, has a health shield as well to help him out, and also has that blink online just to try and get himself into a bit more of an advantageous position.
Absolutely, and speaking of Odin, jumping in is Cybrito looking to find the blue buff, not quite able to steal it away, but does create a fair amount of pressure here for the left-hand side. Spooder able to, well, I mean, they're not really able to do too much with the failed invade at the moment, but I'm sure they'll be looking for a return invade soon.
And I'm quite disappointed, though, from Spooder. We have 3 benevolences on their side, but we don't see a war flag. I love the fact that the Chiquitos have bought this war flag. You're grouped up quite often. There's quite a lot of things to kill on the map. The minions, the buff camps. You're sometimes fighting your enemies quite a lot. So there's quite a lot of opportunity to get those stacks and get that benefit from them whilst in the fight.
Absolutely, yeah. The Sentinels, not the Sentinels, but the Watcher's Gift, OG Watcher's Gift, is going to give them a lot more protections, though. So it's kind of like a check and balance, right?
Yeah, I suppose it is, but there's only 2 upgrade paths, so you're going to have 1 upgrade path bought once and then 1 upgrade path bought twice, and there's going to be a little bit of an overlap. It's going to get messy, it's going to get a little bit confusing. I think just the 2 would have been fine, then having the war flag to go into that war banner in the later game just would have been a lot more sensible for them.
Okay, but which one of them is going to be the Boon Goon? That's what I want to know.
I'm not answering that.
But we need to know, AJ. Is it going to be Face? Is Face going to be the Boon Goon? On the Jing Chen? Is it going to be Odin? Cybrito, is he the Boon Goon?
No, it's definitely not going to be the Odin. The Odin wants to just have as much protections as possible whilst he goes into the middle of the fight. He's going to also be building into loads of shields and loads of health, so he wants those protections on the side. Probably going to be the RTO, just because they're in the middle of the fight most of the time. And speaking of the middle of the fight, Cybrito's just gone!
He just got evaporated. The Terra ult combined with the Rend from Nike is going to combine to pick up that first blood here. Chiquitos still surging forward, looking for a little bit more damage onto Face. But that's going to be all she wrote for now. And Chiquitos with a relatively unexpected first blood onto the Odin.
I suppose it is unexpected that it's onto the Odin, but it's not unexpected that Chiquitos were the first one to get it. Terror ult, E-set ult, you're talking about the dive potential of Osiris, the safety of Hachiman, with his ability to proc that terror ult as well. It was almost guaranteed that they were going to be the ones to receive first blood.
That's exactly what they're going to do, going straight into the lap of Stale, who, I mean, maybe isn't your ideal target, but considering this is Clash, everyone's gaining passive XP and gold anyway. You're not really too worried about who's getting that early game gold boon.
No, exactly. It's not about the experience and getting the levels, it's about the gold. And for me, I want my Nike to have as many items as possible because it just becomes impossible to kill her at that point. Getting this sledge online already, sorry, the Blackthorn online already, might potentially build into a sledge, even though it's quite rare. We sometimes do see it. I'm expecting more health to come out of Stale Game later on in this build, but I imagine it's going to be some heavy protection-based item as the next one.
So, sure. So maybe like, what are we thinking? Like the Sovereignty, maybe a Mystical Mail, that kind of thing?
Depends how aggressive he wants to play it. If he wants to be into the backline and just zoning out Shinigami and Primitive a lot, then I imagine a Mystical Mail will be where he goes. If he wants to be around his team a little bit more, which I don't see him being, I think that's the job of Anxious, then he would go into something more aura-based.
It's a wonderful name that I've only just spotted out myself. Anxious. And kind of, we're gonna go with lane partner, right? Because they're the Guardian ADC, but you've got Anxious tank tops, and I just think that's a wonderful concept.
So we'll see just how Anxious they are feeling, because this is a best of one. It is a grand final as well. Just there's no mistakes. You lose this game, you're second place. There's no coming back from it. So have to be on top of your game from the very get-go. And I'm with Spooder. They're not giving up too much here apart from that first blood. They're not allowing themselves to fall too far behind. In fact, they've caught right back up in terms of gold. So very efficient splitting and farming from them across the map.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say the exact same thing. Just the control over these neutral objectives all the way on Spooder. But Chiquitos could be in some trouble here. Nike has to pop up that shield, and Stall Game under tower now gets picked up by the washing machine, thrown straight back into the clutches of Spooder, but the Phantom's gonna be good. Odin Cage striking from there, and it's gonna be the turnaround! That's gonna be two Cybrino and Face take a spill! And Chiquito's still surging forward, looking for even more damage. Shinigami just about ekes away from those long-range auto attacks from tank tops. So how do they flip that fight?
Simple. The amount of healing that they have on Chiquitos is ridiculous. And look at Heat. He's just diving in the backline, just zoning out as much as possible and creating space and time for this tower to fall down. He may cost him his life, but using the Osiris passive in the pillar, it's a brilliant play. Gives himself time for the team to return. Does he get out in time? Cybrid should finish this one off. No, Shinigami gets the kill.
Just the little cheeky jump on there. But as you said, he's happy to pay for that with his life. The rest of his team pick up this tier 1 in the right-hand side. Chiquitos, after completely flipping over that fight, Spooder just so narrowly avoid killing Stale Game there. They're able to flip over that fight, pick up the right side, tier 1, and, I mean, 2-for-1 trade and a tower? Forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, that is 100% worth. I'm not mad at Heat at all whatsoever. I mean, maybe going a little bit too deep. You know, the second that Primitive goes around the corner, he just runs back a little bit, but he smelled a little bit of blood. They're feeling themselves. They just want to see just how far they can extend. And then they know, okay, that's the wall. We go to the wall and then we stop. We fall back so we don't give them anything again.
And you gotta love the high-level play coming out from Heat, the top-tier strats, just hiding in the pillar with that Lord of the Afterlife passive. Sorry,
so
that's
good.
The ultimate. Yeah, it's just one of those things that I don't think was really popularized until the Phantom on her thing, right? Where people would buy Phantom, stand inside the pillar.
Oh yeah, it's just basically having your own mobile turret. Is what I like to call it. You are the turret yourself. You put up the pillar and then you just go inside it. He's going to be stunned out as Cybrid has to jump away yet again. They haven't really had much use out of this Odin yet, and he's, for me, has to be the key for Spooder to survive this early game. Spreen, Anxious, massive amounts of healing and turnaround potential with them. The Odin Cage can shut that down right now whilst they're still building up that anti-heal. And so far, Cybrid's cages just have not been on point.
And here's the fight around this third red buff now. Cybrino looking to cage. Someone should keep those in, but he's going to be just fine. Lord of the Afterlife's going to find him safe under the tower. But there's the washing machine pulling him straight back in. Cycle protection has come down and should heal up his teammate. That's going to be Heed. Good for now. Spreen able to keep him healthy. But now Eminem a little far forward, but he is an Artheo, so he might be able to get out just fine. But the CC chain from Chiquitos not quite going to be on the mark. The bull, the Spirit Bull, not going to be able to stun out Eminem. And the dash will find Artheo safe. That's going to be a complete washout for that fight.
So close to getting a kill on the Artheo there. That would have been probably even the tower gone down. If Eminem falls, then maybe Spooder just push a little bit too far forward or all of them back, and that's definitely a tower gone, or at least half health onto it, but just narrowly avoids the Spirit Ball, gets himself out of it. He had no clue he was about to be hit by it. He was just praying that it misses, and fortunately for him, it does. But again, Cyberdo, that Odin cage comes out at the very beginning of the fight. He needs to wait until that Circle Protection or until the Earth and Fury comes out before putting down that cage. Otherwise, they just play around it so well.
Yeah, at that point, you know, if you cage Spreen and he drops Circle of Protection, it's like, okay, well, are you trapped in here with me or am I trapped in here with you? Luckily, the members of Spooder can just walk out of there, but Spreen definitely won't be afraid if Cyberdo tries to jump onto him. Just so much protections you get from, well, Circle of Protections. Do we even need to spell it out?
And it's just mind-boggling to me that the first anti-heal item that we do see comes out from Chiquititos rather than Imma Spooder. Spreen building up into that Divine Rune, which gives 110 power these days. 110 power! I've seen some supports build this item because it's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, let's not discount Imma Spooder's building attempts. They are a little bit far behind. A little bit behind Chiquititos in terms of gold, but Privative, it looks like he is pushing towards that Divine Ruin, so it won't be too long until he gets that online. Stall game taking about half of his HP here as another little skirmish forms up around this red buff. Everyone's just kind of throwing abilities out, but now red buff is finally going to fall in favor of Chiquitos, and there's the cage from Odin. Nothing quite coming out to counter it, and there's two people picked up by the Xingqian ult, but everyone's just kind of doing shenanigans. There's not really too much damage coming out. Scratch that, Privative could be in some trouble here. He chainsawing through him, and that's going to be Tank Tops picking up kill number 1 for the engagement. Circle of Protection is going to come through doing a little bit of damage, but mainly healing up Chiquitos under this tier 1 tower on the left-hand side. 4v5 situation now for Spooder.
I think that was like a 2,000 health heal there from Spreen as he gets his team back up to near full health, but the turnaround could be here from Spooder. Good defense and not giving up this tower without a fight. Shinigami half health, and he's what they really need to worry about here, Chiquitos. He is the damage dealer. There's CC, yes, from Artio and the Xingqian, but the second that on her has to back, that's when they could really have gone. But they've done enough to sway the tide for now, have Spooder.
Half health on the left side tower on both sides, and actually he could be in some trouble here, but some beautiful peel there from Stale Game to keep him healthy. Looks like Face could be in a little bit of trouble, but not too much damage coming out from Spreen just yet.
Oh, but Stale Game has just put himself a little bit too far forward. He has to jump away, back to the safety of his team, back to the safety of his tower. And Spooder not feeling confident enough to dive, just worried about the timing on those ultimates coming up for Chiquitos. Because if you ever look at those diamonds on the right-hand side, EZ ult up right now. Anxious's ult is just about to come up off cooldown as well. They can't afford to tower dive with those game-changing ultimates available.
Absolutely. Even if you do have Eminem here, who's basically just going to tank up everything. A nice little ultimate force here from Spooder. Privative jumping in. That could cost him his life. That was a lot to commit. There's Tank Tops charging forward and over the wall. The Spirit Flail picks up the kill.
Huge kill there from Heat. Puts Chiquitos up 5-1, and they're not stopping here. They want the blue buff. Shinigami could be on the chopping block as well, forced to jump away defensively. Look at the rest of the team. They're rallying back, and they're taking their anger out on Eminem here, who's forced to use the beats to get away.
Eminem's just fine, and Face going in, trying to disrupt the rest of Chiquitos for just a little bit longer to cover the retreat of his teammate. Now, Chiquitos, they're up about 3,000 gold. They've got the space to move in on this left side tier 1, and I think it's going to go for relatively free. Nothing really much Spooder can do, and that's going to push their lead even further. And, well, Spooder definitely aren't out of this, but it's starting to look a little rocky for him.
They're 100% not out of this. They just need to get that 100% anti-heal online. In fact, I'm having a look at the relics now, and I am very disappointed that we do not see a Cursed Donk coming out from anybody. Why? Why is there no Cursed Donk? It's the literal Terror killer. Terror pops that ultimate, you pop the Cursed Donk upgrade, they then take more damage just because they were folly of standing near Terror when she presses 4.
Burrito in a little bit of trouble here. Gonna drop the cage, but he'd walk straight through it. Beautiful long-range Spirit Ball to pick up the stun, but the damage isn't really there just yet for Spreen. Eminem as well shouldn't be in too much danger here, as he's a big tanky bear. Nah,
he's
he's
in, but
fine.
he's down to about half health, and it's only the fact that he got that root off before he got rooted by Anxious that saves his life. In my opinion, Stale Game is in the jungle, just trying to create a little bit of space, because his left-hand side Phoenix is what Chiquitos is sniffing at next, and they can smell blood here.
Huge four-man slow from Stale Game there, coming in with the Sentinel of Zeus, and now Chiquitos have all the space that they need. Face gonna be picking up Anxious here, but he's not gonna mind too much. There's the Cycle Protection, trying to heal up the rest of Chiquitos. And now Imma Spooder still trying to fight into this. Primitive gonna be the first one to fall. There are still 4 members of Imma Spooder left standing, though. And the health bars on Chiquititos still looking pretty high. Cybrito going to be the second casualty of war, but he might fall down to the Phoenix there, and that's going to be the first return for Imma Spooder. They might be able to chase them out here. The Phoenix is still relatively healthy.
It's still quite good, and the tanks, they're about 20% health, but they're fine with 20% health. They're fine with 10% even, and they've done a successful defense there. The 4-man root from Face there gets he'd killed. But 4-man Xingqian root, by the way. Doesn't get talked about enough, but that did happen in that fight, just overlooked because of how dominant Chiquitos were there. But Imma Spooder finally put up some resistance, finally showed that they are in this game, and, you know, only 3,000 gold down? It could very well bring themselves back into this. The Phoenix still stands as well.
And Apophis will be spawning in just over a minute as well. That's going to be a really big opportunity for either one of these teams to really push that small advantage that I feel like both of them have in different ways, right? Spooder have kind of tilted the momentum back into their favor, but Chiquitos still do have the lead on paper. It's going to give them about half an item each at this point.
Roughly about half an item. Tier 2, maybe one of them getting a cheaper Tier 3, like a Dizzy's bow, that we could see tank tops build into on the Hachiman, but they want to extend that lead even more, and they were looking around that left Phoenix before. They felt like they had a good chance of taking it down. It could be that Phoenix again. I definitely think it is the best option to go for because of how far away it is from Imma Spooder's fountain. They have to walk all the way through the Titan, all the way through that dead zone between the right-hand side Phoenix and the Titan, and then finally into the fountain. It takes them a good 10 seconds to get back to the Phoenix if they've been technically killed.
Yeah, that's huge. Definitely, actually, is that a further distance than Conquest, potentially from fountain to, like, left or right Phoenix? Because it looks like it on paper.
Yeah, it's the furthest. It is the furthest in the game.
Yeah.
Not by much, but it is still the furthest. And Apophis has spawned, and this is the signal for Chiquitos to try and maybe get this buff.
And, well, there's not really going to be much in terms of contention when you have an E-set ultimate but Phase, and Shinigami could be in some trouble. Half health already on the armor, and the cage is going to come down from Cybrito to try and peel him away. But look at tank tops, already half health as well. Both of these hunters falling low, and now Circle Protections has already been expended, which means no secure for this Apophis on the side of Chiquitos, but a lot of ultimates on both sides. In fact, all but M&M's, and, well, he doesn't even really have one, considering he's that stance-switching character. Even Primitive doesn't really have an ultimate, so this definitely favors them in terms of the ability trade.
That was just an entire bait by Chiquitos. They lured in Imma Spooder, lured them in as much as they could, and then just immediately, bang, onto Shinigami. They want to maybe kill Face here, but I don't think they're going to be able to chew through his protections, not without tank tops there with that kin size. He is the danger man here for Imma Spooder. They need to be able to deal with this Hatchman, but with his ability to stay safe and his ability to hit from range, it might be a little bit too difficult for them to close that distance.
Now looking to get aggressive here on the left-hand side. Face moves over, and the Apophis has been dropped. Looks like Stale is just trying to do a little bit of damage to Shinigami, but the space has been created. Spooder, they don't really want to fight into this too hard. Just back enough now so they can re-posture up for Apophis.
Spreen does have his circle protection back up again. Anxious gonna have his the Fury up soon as well. Tank Tops needs to wait for that mounted archery before he can really commit to one of these fights. Still game, Sentinel of Zeus back up online as well. This is the time for Chiquitos to look for another engagement. They were hesitant whilst these ultimates were down, but now that they're back up, it is definitely time for them to, press go and look for this fight and probably even take the game from it.
Absolutely, yeah, there is a lot of hesitation, though, and Chiquitos really just need to pull the trigger. I mean, they win this Apophis fight 9 out of 10 times, right? Spreen just dunks his ultimate down on it. If anyone comes near, Anxious pops the Earthen Fury. You don't out-secure an E-set, right? That's just the rule of Smite. If there is one immutable rule, is that you do not out-secure E-set, and Chiquitos have that potential to just pull away this Apophis super quickly.
Well, the second immutable rule of SMITE is you don't pick Poseidon in grand finals, but Washing Machine comes out, and Stale Game is brought back. No damage to him, he's A-okay and safely back with his team.
Circle protection has been dropped already, and Spreen's going to pop it nearly straight away. M&M falling to about half HP alongside Cybrito. These frontliners starting to look a little bit worse for wear, but in the back line, he looking for some damage, and there's a beautiful two-man knockup from Stale, looking to put Shinigami in the ground, and down falls one. M&M could be in some trouble here as well. Not much HP left for the RTO, and he's going to take a spill as well. Two people looking at the back here, but Spreen just going to tap Cybrino and stop the back. That's going to put 4 more members of Chiquitos able to push down this Phoenix by themselves. Only Privileged here to help defend, but looking around the back, here comes FaZe, but it's not going to matter. Too little, too late. Goodbye, Bud. And now FaZe could be facing his own death as well.
Oh, that is, and a lot of the after comes have a little Privative, forcing him to go back into the fountain. He can't heal up right now, but the Titan is under siege. Just Cybrino and Privative remaining to try and stem this tide. Can they do it? Titan's down to about 50% health, Blazy.
It's not going to be enough, I don't think so, AJ. 5 members here on Chiquitos, only 2 on the side of Imma Spooder to help stem the flow, to help stop the bleeding, and they're not going to have enough bandages because the game is over, and your grand finalists for the NA side of this bracket is going to be Chiquitos.
I called it. It's going to be a quicker game. We only saw 1 Apophis compared to the 4 we saw yesterday, so NA living up to the name of aggression there. Chiquitos constantly looking for those fights, constantly looking to just dive down and kill that on her, and they did it in the final fight. They very finally managed to lock down and kill the Lion, and that just led to dominoes into dominoes into dominoes, and then the game ends. Just straight from that 1 kill.
That's all it takes sometimes. You just need to pick off the back line and go from there. But AJ, that's going to be it from us. That's going to be your Community Clash tournament all wrapped up for this year, ladies and gentlemen. But don't go away. Don't you be leaving, because we have the Content Creator Cup coming up in just a few moments. And then after that, Grand Finals.